The PGA Championship had been built up as the premier stage where golf's absolute elite would battle it out under the brightest spotlight. It promised everything fans dream of: world-class players pushing their limits, a brutally challenging course designed to expose every weakness, and stakes so high that only the strongest would survive. Yet at Aronimink Golf Club, the entire spectacle collapsed into something completely unexpected and deeply shocking. When the cut line was finally posted at 4 over par, an overwhelming number of the sport's biggest superstars were left stunned and eliminated. It wasn't just one or two big names falling short. A staggering total of 19 prominent figures, each expected to fight for the coveted Wanamaker Trophy, were sent packing well before the weekend even began. This wasn't a minor setback or a random bad day for a couple of players. This was a full-scale massacre of golf royalty. The names read like a dream lineup for any major: Bryson DeChambeau, Tommy Fleetwood, Robert McIntyre, Victor Hovland, Tyrrell Hatton, and many more established champions and contenders. The golf universe was left in absolute disbelief. Supporters around the globe expressed their outrage and disappointment on social media, in forums, and at the course itself. Analysts and experts launched into intense debates, searching desperately for explanations. Was this simply a case of extreme course difficulty? Were the top players experiencing an unusual collective slump in form? Or does this shocking outcome point to something much deeper and more fundamental about the evolving nature of modern major championships? The ripple effects from this event could very well reshape how we view, prepare for, and experience golf's biggest tournaments for many years into the future. The warning signs appeared almost immediately as the tournament got underway on Thursday morning. Harsh winds howled across the Pennsylvania landscape, turning what should have been manageable shots into high-stakes challenges. The rough was grown out thick and punishing, ready to swallow any slightly wayward ball and make recovery nearly impossible. The greens ran incredibly fast and firm, punishing even the most delicate touches and turning 3-foot putts into nerve-wracking tests of precision. Aronimink had transformed into an absolute beast of a golf course, far more demanding than many had anticipated. Season-long dominators who had been tearing up regular tour events suddenly looked mortal, struggling mightily just to break the score of 75. Instead of seeing familiar superstar names at the top of the leaderboard, fans were greeted by capable but far less celebrated professionals such as Alex Smalley, Maverick McNeely, and Chris Gotterup. These players delivered solid performances under tough conditions, but they simply didn't carry the star power and drawing ability that the massive crowds and television audiences had come expecting to witness. By the time Friday afternoon rolled around, the destruction was complete and undeniable. The cut settled firmly at 4 over par, meaning only 82 players earned the right to continue playing into the weekend. This left a whopping 74 competitors eliminated after just 36 holes. Among those heading home early were an extraordinary collection of the game's most recognizable and accomplished talents. The sheer volume of star power missing the cut sent shockwaves throughout the entire golf community. People everywhere were asking the same stunned question: how could so many elite players miss the cut at the same prestigious major championship? Bryson DeChambeau's early exit stood out as perhaps the most high-profile casualty of all. The former U.S. Open champion, famous for his analytical approach, immense power, and bold personality, suffered through a disastrous opening round of 76. He stumbled with 5 bogeys and one painful double bogey, managed to hit only half of the greens in regulation, and saw his short game completely abandon him when he needed it most. In fact, he ranked dead last in strokes gained around the green for that first round. On Friday, he showed some fight, stringing together 3 consecutive birdies toward the end of his round, but the damage from Thursday was simply too great to overcome. He finished the 2 days at 7 over par, his hopes of contending for another major title vanishing into the difficult Aronimink winds. Tommy Fleetwood, the current FedEx Cup champion and widely regarded as one of the finest players never to have won a major, also found himself on the wrong side of the cut line. Coming into the event with high expectations and genuine belief that this could be his year to break through, he posted steady but unspectacular rounds of 72 and 73. Across the entire 36 holes, he manufactured just 2 birdies, both conveniently coming on the par 5 ninth hole. Missing the cut by the slimmest possible margin of a single stroke, this marked his first missed cut in 10 starts during the season. The Englishman, known for his sportsmanship and calm demeanor, left the course disappointed yet honest about his performance, acknowledging that the tough conditions demanded absolute sharpness that he could not quite deliver this particular week. Robert McIntyre endured what can only be described as a week to forget. The talented Scottish player has now missed the cut in both major championships this season, a worrying trend for someone with his obvious potential. On Friday, he was sitting relatively well at 2 over par with 7 holes still to play, but then disaster struck. He made a double bogey on the 3rd hole and followed that with another bogey on the 8th, ultimately finishing at 5 over, exactly 1 shot too many. His scrambling statistics painted a clear picture of the problem. He converted only 3 out of 12 opportunities over the 2 days. On a course this unforgiving, the inability to get up and down consistently becomes a fatal flaw that majors punish without mercy. The disappointments piled up across the rest of the star-studded field. Viktor Hovland carded rounds of 74 and 72 but struggled badly with his short game, converting just 5 out of 16 scrambling attempts while ranking near the very bottom of the field in strokes gained putting. Tyrrell Hatton faced similar issues, managing only 4 successful scrambles out of 12 attempts as his putter grew ice cold, leaving him ranked 135th in putting strokes gained. A large contingent of highly respected European Ryder Cup team members who many expected to challenge deep into the weekend instead found themselves booking early departures, a collective setback that raised eyebrows across the Atlantic. The complete list of notable players who missed the cut was nothing short of staggering and read more like the entry list for the tournament rather than a group of early exits. Bryson DeChambeau, Tommy Fleetwood, Robert McIntyre. Viktor Hovland, Tyrrell Hatton, J.J. Spaun, Russell Henley, Akshay Baisha, Keegan Bradley, Wyndham Clark, Sepp Straka, Gary Woodland, Adam Scott, Max Homa, Sungjae Im, and several others. J.J. Spaun's elimination was particularly hard to comprehend given his recent achievements. As the reigning U.S. Open champion who had triumphed at Shinnecock Hills the previous year, he arrived with genuine momentum and high hopes. After a promising first-round 70, his Friday round fell apart with a 76. He made only 1 birdie the entire day and his putting woes were severe. He lost nearly 5 full strokes to the rest of the field on the greens alone. Wyndham Clark, another recent major winner from the 2023 U.S. Open, also suffered an early exit. He began with a 75 that included 2 costly double bogeys, showed some fight with 3 birdies on the front 9 of his second round, but then suffered a crushing triple bogey on the 11th hole, a 7 on a par 4 that completely knocked the wind out of his sails. He too missed the cut by just 1 stroke. Keegan Bradley, who has a special personal history at this venue after winning the BMW Championship here in 2018, hoped to recapture some of that old magic, but could only manage rounds of 74 and 72 with minimal birdie opportunities. Max Homa's performance was nightmarish by his standards, rounds of 75 and 77 with almost no birdies at all, including a completely birdieless second round, leaving him at a painful 12 over par. Veteran campaigner Adam Scott saw his incredible streak of consecutive major starts come to an end short of the 100-mark milestone due to poor iron play and an unresponsive putter. The broader golf world reacted with a powerful mixture of shock, frustration, debate, and analysis. Fans flooded social media with passionate messages. Some expressed outright anger, feeling that their expensive tickets and travel investments had been wasted watching lesser-known players instead of their heroes. Others took a more philosophical view, reminding everyone that golf is a game where the course itself can sometimes be the ultimate victor, and even the greatest players endure off weeks. A segment of supporters voiced deeper concerns about whether modern majors have simply become too difficult, potentially driving away casual fans by eliminating star names too early. The eliminated players themselves showed a range of emotions, from silent frustration in Bryson's case to gracious, but disappointed reflections from Tommy Fleetwood and more emotional responses from Robert McIntyre, who admitted the short game failures hurt deeply and vowed to learn from the experience. Meanwhile, those who successfully navigated the cut expressed relief and respect for the extreme challenge. Defending champion Scottie Scheffler remained firmly in contention, emphasizing the need for patience, mental toughness, and smart damage limitation when bogeys inevitably appear on such a brutal test. This extraordinary situation has sparked intense media scrutiny and widespread discussion across every major golf outlet. The consensus points to a perfect storm of difficult weather, thick rough, and lightning fast greens that particularly challenged players who depend on feel, creativity, and finesse, while somewhat favoring those with raw power and precise ball striking. Television networks, having invested enormous sums in broadcast rights, are understandably concerned about potential rating drops if weekends feature unfamiliar names. A veteran player speaking anonymously went further, suggesting the setup was overly biased toward big hitters and unfair to those relying on traditional shot-making skills. The long-term implications of this kind of mass elimination are significant and wide-ranging. This PGA Championship has always been known for its unpredictability due to its rotation of different course styles, but aerodynamic pushed the boundaries of difficulty. The winning score may not even reach double digits under par, something increasingly rare in the modern professional game. Players who miss the cut now face pressure to regroup quickly. Bryson DeChambeau must find answers before the next major, especially with LIV golf distractions in the background. Tommy Fleetwood's consistency suggests this was likely just a temporary blip. Robert McIntyre and the European contingent need to sharpen their short games if they hope to compete effectively against the current American dominance led by figures like Scheffler, Schauffele, and Koepka. Ultimately, fans may be the ones who feel the biggest sting, having invested time and money expecting to see their favorite stars compete deep into the tournament. The weekend leaderboard, filled with less familiar names like Alex Smalley, Maverick McNeely, and Chris Gotterup, promises solid golf but perhaps lacks the electric atmosphere and narrative drama that comes with superstar presence. The PGA of America now faces important choices about striking the right balance between creating a genuine, punishing test and maintaining broad appeal, commercial success, and fan engagement. Whether future majors will see slightly adjusted setups, continued tough examinations, or some middle ground solution remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: after the aerodynamic carnage, major championship golf continues to evolve in fascinating, challenging, and sometimes controversial ways. The stars will have to adapt, the fans will need patience during surprising weeks, and the game itself marches forward with new talents ready to seize their moments when the established names stumble. The conversation sparked here at Aerodynamic is far from over.